Now that we've lived in Arizona for just about 1 year, we wanted to give you some insights on what we think living in Arizona is like and just kind of the unique and, common things to know about Arizona before moving here. So let's just get right into it. First up, clearly the weather. The weather is something that is just very different from everywhere else that in the country and that we've lived in. It's hot as hell, gets up to 120 degrees, sometimes even hotter in the summer, and it gets pretty cool in the winter, but not as not negative 20s or anything like that. But yeah, extremely hot, but it's bearable for us.
Definitely bearable. If you like the heat, you would like it. We love the heat. We come from Minnesota, so it's like way better than negative 20 degree temperatures. We much prefer the heat. So we like it. And
120 is better than negative 20 any day of the week. And then also coming from a place like Texas, it's not as humid. It's really dry. I mean, really dry. You're going to need some lotion.
You need some lotion. Lots of lotion, reapplying throughout the day, chapstick, everything to stay moisturized, hydrated, because it is a necessity.
I've never used lotion this much in my life. I swear I've used more lotion in the year here in Arizona than I have my entire life before this. I just never used it, and now I use it pretty much just as much as her. So it's a necessity. So coming here, we thought it rained like 2 days a year.
It's the desert. That's what you kind of think, you know.
It's still dry, but it rains more than we thought. Like, it was raining all night last night. So it rains more than we thought, but still not as much as a place like Texas or Minnesota. In the summer though, I mean, you'll get sick of how clear it is. There's no clouds. There'll be like 2 weeks where it's just like, oh, another sunny, beautiful day. Like, where's the thunderstorms? Like, I need a little change up.
You don't have to check the weather apps because every day is the same.
It's just going to be nice as nice can get. But it gets boring. You know, it's monotonous. So, that's just something. The weather, beautiful, hot, dry, clear skies.
But there is monsoon season, which is kind of like during the summer into up to October. So
it's not as scary as you think.
It's not scary.
If you're coming from a place like Texas, remember the storm in Nashville even?
Oh my gosh,
that was scary. But Texas, we would get woken up in the middle of the night just from loud thunderstorms. Like, lightning strikes would be hitting right outside your house. The monsoon season, they made it out to be so scary in the videos that we watch. It's really just not that bad.
No, it's not.
And maybe we just haven't experienced a bad one, but coming from Texas, it doesn't even compare. So not that bad.
Number 2 is the nature here. It is truly unbeatable. There are always opportunities for hiking, doing outdoor activities. There's just an abundance of nature, and you truly just never get sick of it, especially the mountains. Just seeing the mountains, living amongst the palm trees. It's just so beautiful, and we love that. That's kind of the lifestyle here is just being outdoors, active, healthier, and we just love it, especially coming from Texas, where I feel like everything is so flat and boring, and there's not a lot of nature. There's not a lot of places to go and do things outside. So
at least not around the city, but even when you're just traveling out west, it's just flat fields.
It's nothing.
It's just crazy. And then even compared to somewhere like Colorado, if you're living in Denver, the mountains are in the background, but here it's like you're living in the middle of a mountain range.
You're engulfed.
You're engulfed, and especially when you're traveling to Phoenix. I mean, it's literally within the mountains,
So cool.
Buildings are built in the mountains.
Around the mountain.
Right. There's baseball fields with the mountains, providing one of the walls. It's just such a unique nature experience out here. It's exactly what we wanted when we moved out here. We wanted that nature. Texas was just very hard to find the diversity of nature, and that's another thing here. There are so many different types of things, landscapes that you can go to, especially if you just travel a little bit out of the way.
You've got the desert, you've got the mountains, you've got the forests, like
Yep.
trees and stuff up north in like Flagstaff.
Ponds, lakes, it's just so diverse, and we absolutely love it.
Yes.
Another thing about the nature is that there are tons of critters, right? We haven't really seen them in our home like we did in Texas, where every single apartment we lived in, we had roaches, and that's not us. She's a clean freak,
I'm a
so
clean freak.
it's not like how you live, it's just where you live.
Yeah.
There's roaches everywhere.
It's the nature of living in Texas, I swear.
Right. I became a pro at killing those bastards. And
Yes.
they're creepy too, and they're smart.
They are smart.
In Texas, but here we only really see them on the sidewalk. We've never seen a scorpion yet. We haven't seen a snake yet. We know they're out there.
Yeah.
We just haven't seen them. But the bugs are, thank God. But the bugs are prevalent. They're around, and
But they don't bother you.
they don't
bother you too much.
They scurry away when you're walking. So I mean, they avoid you, but they are there. And so that kind of leads into number 3, travel. There are so many places within a few hours of Arizona. I should say within a few hours of like the Phoenix and Tucson area, within Arizona and with like outside of Arizona. So I'm talking like Prescott, Sedona, Grand Canyon. But then you go up a little bit into Utah, Nevada, California, New Mexico is beautiful.
Yeah.
We love New Mexico.
Yeah.
Colorado really isn't that far away, especially if you're on the west side of the mountains. And so many places. The Phoenix area is just like a launch board into other places, and that's another thing that we moved here for, knowing that we would just be close to a bunch of places that we wanted to see and visit.
Number 4 is that the school system here is not the greatest. And I've heard this from multiple sources, multiple teachers who actually teach here in Arizona. It's just that the education system is not up to the standards of other states in the country. We've always considered homeschooling, but especially if we're going to live here and raise our kids here in Arizona, we will definitely be homeschooling, or probably private school is better, but that can get expensive, so we'll see. But definitely something to consider.
And we're like sensitive about this because we really care about having a good education for our kids. Obviously everyone is, but we've just been like more sensitive about that when we think about having kids. And we come from Minnesota, which even though we were considering homeschooling there too, it has one of the best education systems in the country. And coming from Texas, where all the schools are just like college campuses,
Massive.
it's crazy.
Massive.
And so yeah, the education system isn't that great. The kids seem a little bit more rowdy without going into names and stuff like that. They are, they seem just a little bit crazier, right?
Less parented.
Right. Like when I was in school, like we got in fights and stuff like that, but it was the stuff like, yo, let's meet at the park at 3, and if someone got a little out of hand, there'd be a bunch of kids like, breaking it up before it got too crazy. Here they're like killing each other. So it's just a little bit crazier, and that's something we're considering. So we don't want our kids to have to deal with that growing up. Number 5, cost of living. Everything here just seems like a couple dollars more expensive, right? And I always bring this one up, but I used to get Jimmy John's in Minnesota, Texas. When we moved here, all the sandwiches were like $2 more expensive. So now Jimmy John's is like a $40, $50 expense. Like that's more than the breakfast we got the other day, which was only like $20. And so I don't eat Jimmy John's really all that much here unless we like really want something delivered, just because things are a little bit more expensive. However, there is a lot of options, so you can find other things. But yeah, everything was just a little bit more expensive. The housing isn't the cheapest, I would say, but since inflation
And
has
the Californians.
right. But since inflation's kind of taken off, I mean, it really wasn't that different from Texas. It's better than places like Colorado, where we were also looking. We were thinking about Arizona and Colorado. Colorado had nothing in our price range, absolutely nothing. That kind of took us by surprise that Arizona was better than that, but now we're not really surprised by that. It's kind of the same situation in Minnesota too. They have no options there of new apartments that are affordable. And so that's something that, the housing isn't as bad as some people make it out to be. There's a lot of options, and they are in your price range, especially if you go outside the city a little bit. So yeah, cost of living, all the things are a little bit more expensive. Housing isn't as bad as other places we've seen, so just keep that in mind.
Number 6 is that the commuting is a little bit different than when we lived in Texas. Here, it is very common. And one of the first things that we kind of noticed was that a lot of people are commuting on electric motorized vehicles. So you got like motorbikes, dirt bikes, golf carts. They're just so abundant here, and we thought that was very interesting.
If you do that in Texas, you got a death wish, because
there's no doing that there.
No, it's so fast out there. All the speed limits are 55 or more, and if they're not, they're still 55 or more.
Yeah.
So if you do that in Texas, you got a death wish. Here, I mean, it's everywhere. So
also in Texas, the commuting is very much car centric. There's not really a lot of sidewalks that are safe or anything like that. So I feel like living here in Arizona, that is like a big thing. You know, sidewalks are safe to walk on. It's not so car centric.
It's been nice.
Yeah, it has been nice. It's a change of pace, you know?
Yeah, we can cross the street and not feel like our life is in danger.
Exactly.
You know? But also, like, the Texas culture, like, I do like the fast driving culture.
Yeah,
so,
on
like,
the highway, for sure.
I'm not shitting on Texas. Like, I love the driving culture of Texas. But it's just like we wanted a slower pace, you know, since living in Texas for a couple of years. We wanted that change of pace, be able to walk to the grocery store or across the street.
Right.
So that was a big plus moving here. With that said, though, there's still some crazy drivers here. Don't let it fool you.
Another thing that we found interesting living here with vehicles is that there are so many. I have never seen so many customized license plates. And I'm not just talking about from different states, but literally people's license plates are just customized to whatever they want it to say. And it's fun, but it's like crazy. I've never seen that before. Never seen so many.
It's fun reading them all. Some of them are dorky or like douchey, but it's still just fun reading them all. And so that's also a change. Number 7, not talking about the weather, just in general, there are 2 seasons in Arizona. There is summer and snowbird season, right? And so, like, we've already touched on the weather. So the real difference here is congestion. During the winter, spring, fall, people come down from the northern states and they have like their, you know, winter homes here. And, you know, that's cool. That's something that I aspire to do as well. However, it's a bit annoying because everything gets more congested. People just seem angrier because of the congestion, right? The grocery stores are congested, traffic's congested, people are honking all the time. And we've like literally noticed already, because people are going back up north right now, you know, the honking is definitely less. And so
actually, I have not noticed any honking like at all.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
People just get crazier in the snowbird season. And it's not just the snowbirds who are angrier. Like, Arizonans are mad that they're here, you know.
Rightfully so, because it does.
No, it does matter. And, you know, we're feeling like a little bit a part of that Arizona culture because we're cursing the snowbirds. Like, God damn it, get out of here. You know? And so it is a bit annoying, but it's something to think about. Because when we moved here, we're like, oh, everyone's so nice.
Yep.
The roads are so clear.
Yeah.
We just have all this room to frolic and laugh and play. And then when the snowbirds came, we're like, what? Like, it didn't click right away. We're like, what the hell is going on?
We forgot it was a thing, but it got more busy on the streets, and we're like, what is happening?
Right. People are honking out there, screaming and stuff, and you're like, what the hell? So there's 2 seasons. Summer, which is just great, and then snowbird season, which is a bit annoying. It's not that bad, though, but it's a bit annoying.
Number 8 is that car wash memberships are a necessity. With the dust storms that happen here, your car just gets so dirty. Literally every single day there's a layer of dust on it. Yeah. And that is something we never did.
Yeah.
We like really never went to car washes ever. Even living in Minnesota with like all the salt and the snow and the mud, never went to the car wash. But here we go at least once a week. We got a membership because it's just necessary. Yeah.
Just like the lotion, I've had more car washes in Arizona than anywhere else I've ever lived. With the membership, though, you can get as many as you want. And so you can just keep going every day. And, you know, another thing, if you get a house, get some good windows.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, like those people who come around knocking on your door, listen to them. Because you're going to need them, because dust creeps in.
It really does.
You know, so during a dust storm, keep the windows closed, because you'll be dusting everything in your house. So just something to think about. It's really dusty, obviously, desert, Makes sense.
Number 9 is that the sunsets here are truly one of a kind, so majestical. I remember the first night we drove into Arizona, because we drove here from Texas. It was right at sunset as we hit the mountains, and I cried. I actually literally cried because it is so beautiful. It's just so dreamy, and it's pink and orange and purple, and it's illuminating the mountains, and the cactus just looks so beautiful. Yeah, I just love the sunsets here, and it's pretty much almost every day. So it's like you get a beautiful sunset every day. You never get sick of it. It's always just so beautiful.
The Texas had good sunsets too, but it's just different here, you know, because you get the mountains, you get that, just like that purple, orangish.
I think it's a desert thing.
Yeah, it's just like, it's something unique here, you know, and like, you know, playing off the green in the back, like, it's just so nice. It's something, you know, just like the mountain views, the sunset views, you just never get sick of it. You're taking pictures all the time.
All the time.
All the time. And, you know, with that too, rainbows happen all the time too, so that's fun. All right, so number 10, this is a fun one. Something that we've noticed because, you know, we've lived in other places where they focus on different sports, but here they seem to be really big on baseball, right? And I think that is just the nature of having the MLB, you know, spring training here. They're set up in multiple places, and you know, in Minnesota, clearly the biggest sport is hockey. You know, maybe basketball, football, and baseball. You know, it's there, but you know, not as big as hockey. Texas, clearly football. You could hear games going on everywhere.
Anywhere we've lived, there's always a high school big stadium nearby where we can hear the football games.
Huge
even
stadium.
If it's like 3 miles away. It's insane.
Yeah, the bands are going, you know. And here we've only noticed that with baseball. So yeah, it just seems like a really big sport here, and something that we've noticed that's different, and it's cool. I like just experiencing new stuff, right? So Minnesota has been different than Texas. Texas has been different than Arizona. All three
are different from each other.
There's really no comparisons that are like similar. So it's really cool. Those are the 10 that we have that we've noticed living in Arizona that we think are, you know, kind of the most known but also unique features that we wanted to share with y'all. In a recap, we've loved living here.
Yes.
It has been our favorite place by far. We like, obviously Minnesota will always have a place in my heart. Texas was great. It was the first place we lived on our own with each other. And so that'll also have a place in my heart too. But Arizona, what?
My heart?
My
you
heart.
sound like fucking Jimmy or just like country, my heart.
I'm getting a little country-ish by living in the South. Yeah. My Minnesota accent is almost...
probably gone.
It's not like totally gone. It still comes out every now and then, but... It is being displaced by a southern draw, I guess. And I also just like talk that way a lot, so maybe I'm just doing. Who's that guy who talks like Elvis?
I don't know.
The Butler guy or something?
Austin Butler.
Austin Butler.
Yeah.
Like how he just spoke so much like Elvis that he started talking like it. Maybe that's what's happening here. But you know, those two places will always have a place in our memories and in our hearts. But Arizona has just been...
just feels right.
It just feels
like
so right.
us.
Yeah. Palm trees and everything. God, it just... every time you drive, you're like, we live here. We live here.
Right. It's crazy. So those are the 10 things about living in Arizona that maybe you guys would want to know. If we forgot any, leave them in the comments. And we will see you guys in our next video.
Peace out, guys.
Bye.